For some of you, you as cold as you are, and when I say cold, I mean good. You are insanely gifted, insanely creative. You are insanely independent because your folks didn't show up. But you so busy crying that they didn't show up, you don't realize their absence developed you. I'm preaching to 3 of y'all. I just want to pause and have church with 3 people who had to figure it out by yourself. And yes, you got some trauma and some issues because you had to do it by yourself. But now that you've grown and you see people who can't do nothing for themselves, you sit back and say, God, I thank you, you developed me. I just need you to look at your neighbor and say, you sat next to the right one. Tell them, not only can I work by myself, not only do I know how to fight by myself, but if you won't shout, I know how to praise by myself. Tell your neighbor, you ain't got to shout right here. I brought enough praise for everybody on my road. That God, whatever you got them in, let it develop them.
Hey guys, I'm actually trying something new on my channel, and I don't know what I want to call them yet. I think I want to call them like video topics or topic videos. You know what I'm gonna call it? My 2 cents. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I think I'm gonna call these videos my 2 cents. If you can tell by the video you just seen, I'm basically gonna be playing videos because I be on TikTok a lot, and sometimes I'll see videos and I'll develop think pieces on them. So I'm gonna start posting my little think pieces on here and just see how well this goes. I'm probably gonna be posting multiple of these, like probably each and every day or every other day. I don't know yet, don't quote me on that. But let's jump straight into this video. If you have not hit that subscribe button, go ahead, hit it. Go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead and leave you a comment. You could drop a red apple. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go straight to this video. So the pastor in the video, I low-key forgot that man's name. I don't really watch him. Sometimes I'll see clips of his on social media, but I don't really watch him or whatever. I might start getting into his content. But anyway, I feel like he spoke on something very important. Like, I feel like he spoke on something very important in the video. And I feel like I personally could resonate because for the longest in my life, I was constantly only focused on the negative. Or for the longest, I always felt like I had the shortest end of the stick, especially growing up in my upbringing, because I would feel as though like my parents were harder on me than my brother. I felt like my parents trusted my brother more than they trusted me. And I just felt like, I always just felt like an outcast. Like I always felt like my family didn't genuinely love me, like they didn't genuinely like me like that for real. But yeah, if you're not too familiar with my story, I am no contact with all my family members, like my mom, my dad, my brother, like my grandma. I don't talk to none of my family members. Like I'm no contact with them. I guess you could say they went no contact first. It was kind of like this. So back in 2019, my dad had kicked everybody out. It started with my brother. He kicked my brother out. Then he came and he kicked me out. And then my mama was telling him that he couldn't just kick us out, and he kicked her out too. So me, my mom, and my brother was homeless, and we was living in a hotel for like a month until my mom had got approved for her apartment or whatever. And then we moved in with her. And then when I moved in with my mom, 2 months, maybe even a month, I don't know how long I was living with my mom the first time, but a little bit of time went by and she ended up kicking me out from her apartment. So then it just left her and my brother. And so then I ended up coming back because while, like when she kicked me out, I was trying to find like my own like stability. I was trying to find my own stability since like basically they was making me feel like my brother and my mom was making me feel like I was unbearable to live with. They was making me feel like I was like a bad person, that they didn't want to be around me. And so with that being said, instead of me fighting to be like still live with them or whatever, I just really went on about my business. But I had feeling hard times, y'all, because my whole upbringing, my whole childhood, I was sheltered. So my mom and my dad did not let me and my brother really go anywhere. Like we would be in the house 24/7 if we wasn't in school or like some type of activity. Like it was almost like we was under 24-hour surveillance, if you will. Not really, because like I said, they wasn't with us 24 hours because they had to go to work. But we was not allowed to do nothing. We wasn't allowed to have friends outside of school. We rarely was allowed to go over to like our classmates' house, like, or if we made friends, we was rarely allowed to go over to other people's house. We definitely couldn't spend the night. Nobody could come over to our house. Nobody could spend the night. It was just like, yeah, like the only people that was allowed to really come over was family members and stuff. So I grew up like my parents raised me very, very sheltered. So when I had got of age and my mom had kicked me out, I didn't know what I was doing because like I didn't have any outside resources. I felt like I felt like that was like an intentional thing between my parents. I don't think they wanted us having any outside resources. And that's the part that kind of it made me question things as an adult thinking back on my childhood, because if my parents could kick me out, because I can only speak for myself, if my parents could kick me out, especially at a young age, because I think the first time my dad had put me out to where I had stayed out overnight, like stay gone for some days, I think I was like 16, 17. So this was young. I don't even think that's the legal age you could kick a child out. Like, I think I could have actually called the police and the police could have helped me, but I didn't know the laws. I didn't know my rights. So when they would put me out, I would just be gone for a couple of days until I would beg them to come back. And every time I begged, they would let me come back, right? That's kind of something that I question and I raise an eyebrow to as an adult, because it's like, if you didn't allow your children to make any connections, any friends, they couldn't really go over to people's houses and stuff. Like, you kept them under you 24/7, which is the parents. Like, the parents kept the kids under them 24/7 just for them to get to a certain age, and you fully just discard them out of your care, like just out on the streets. That's very traumatizing. And I felt like, if anything, like if my parents was the type to know that, okay, I wouldn't mind kicking my kids out, or I would be the type of parent to kick my kids out, because I talked to other people because I thought it was a normal thing. Sometimes when you grow up in certain things, you perceive it as normality. But I got opinions from other people. Even me as an adult now, if I were to become a parent, I would not kick out my child. And I know people would say, well, you never know. I would not kick out my child because that's not logical. A lot of the times, if you do have a child who is unruly or bad, you 9 times out of 10 have a part to play in that child's behavioral issues or even drug addictions. Sometimes parents would kick their kids out for drug addictions, but those are the same parents that failed to get those kids help during their upbringing. So when they seen signs of depression or whatever, I remember one time my mom, she literally seen that I had cuts on my wrist. Like, she saw my wrist and she was like, why would you do that? And we had like that one little conversation about, she just asked me like, why would I do that? And, and I was just like, I don't know. And then that was it. Like, that was something that she swept under the rug. Like, my mom, she never went and really got me help. The only time I got help for my mental state is when I had tried to KMS. I don't know if I can say that. I had tried to take my own life. And I had got admitted into the hospital on the 7th floor, and they had treated me there. And then when I left out of there, they gave me a therapist. They assigned me to a therapist, and I was supposed to be on medication. My mother flushed my medication. I did used to go to the therapist, but when I would go to the therapist, my mom would tell me stuff like if we got into an argument before it was time for me to go to therapy, she'll say, and I know you finna sit up there and talk about me with your therapist. I know you're gonna sit up there and talk about me bad like I'm just the worst parent. So that was some of the stuff that like I kind of dealt with during my upbringing. So I had ended up developing a addiction to weed. And that was one of the reasons that I remember my dad kicking me out when I was like 16, 17. My dad had called the police on me because he had caught me smoking weed before that. And like, that was something that my mom would occasionally throw up in my face. Like, she would be okay with it. Like, it would be, if we were cool and it was like calm in the home, she would actually buy me cigars. So it was at a time where I was underage, so I wasn't allowed to go to the store and get them. So I went and asked my mom. And one time she went to the store. I'll never forget this because she was clutch. Shout out to my mom for this. She went to the store and I think she bought me like 5 or I don't know how many packs but it was like a lot of packs. She had bought me a whole bunch of packs of honey games. It was honey flavored games so I could smoke, and I really appreciated her. But fast forward months later, she was feeling some type of way towards me. I don't remember what about, but it's like if my mom was upset at me, she would use the fact that I smoke weed against me. Like, basically try to make it seem like, how can I say? Like, oh, and you shouldn't be smoking weed. Like, I can't explain it. It's like, if we're cool, she cool with the smoking weed. But if she not cool with me, she not cool with me smoking weed. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a back and forth type thing. But anyway, back to what I was saying. My family had kept, like my parents, my mom and dad kept me very sheltered just for me to get of a certain age and then start just kicking me out without any type of support. And so, that was one thing that kind of raised red flags to me. It seemed as though, and I could be wrong, it seemed as though my family wanted me to struggle. It seemed as though my family wanted me to get to a point where maybe I wanted to end my life again, or get to a point where maybe somebody ended my life. It just, not saying this was the case, but allegedly I just felt like my family wanted me to struggle, because it's like, why would you shelter this kid for all of these years, not let them go anywhere, not let them make relations with other people, so then at least like when they get to a certain point where they want to kick me out, I could go stay with this person or with this family member. You know, it was not set up like that. It was just like, if you're not under my roof, then you're on the streets. Like, if you're not listening to what I say, then you're gonna struggle. It's like, that's how they wanted it. I think they set up the circumstances like that so they felt like they could have full control over me and my other sibling. Like I said, I don't want to just put no words in their mouth. This is all my speculation. This is just how I genuinely feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this is what they were doing, but just from the signs and the way things were set up, things were set up very unfair. Because like I said, if you felt like you was righteous in kicking your children out, if you feel like they're not listening to you, or you feel like they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, if you know you have the spirit to kick your kid out, at least allow them to build connections. My parents did not want that. They didn't want any possibility that we would, or I would leave from them and like go into another loving home that see me for who I am and celebrates me. And no, they did not want that. For some reason, it's like, if I wasn't up under them, suffering from their abuse, doing what they want me to do for them, it's like, then they're just like, okay, well then boom, bye. You gotta fend for yourself. You figure it out. And like, I don't know. I'm just glad that, well, for the longest, I felt like, dang, like, why it always gotta be me? Because they never would kick my brother out. While I was coming up, they would only put me out. Now, my dad, he would kick me and my brother out occasionally, but it would never be like we would be gone for days. It would more so be like he would maybe kick us out at like maybe 2, 3 o'clock, and then my mom wouldn't get off till like 8 o'clock. So we would have to be outside, like walk around outside in whatever clothes that we had got kicked out in. And we would go to there's like this little corner store around the corner from my house. Me and my brother used to walk to that corner store and use the money that we had. We probably had like $5 in ones, and we would get us like a snack, like a bag of chips, a drink, and we would share it, and we would just wait outside until my mom would get off work. And literally sometimes my mom would come home, like she was getting off of work, and she would look out her window and she would see her kids sitting like at the bus stop. Like, as she trying to make it to her home, like she would see us on the side of the road, and she would be like, what y'all doing out here? Like, what in the world? And then we would tell her like, oh, dad kicked us out. Now, me being a kid, I'm not knowing that my dad legally cannot do that. Like, I'm not, y'all, like, I did not know that. Like, I kid you not, like, as a child, I did not know like that was illegal. If anything, if my dad didn't want us like in his home, he could have signed his rights away, didn't want to do that. He could have put us in some type of facility, didn't want to do that. Because I honestly don't think that my dad really wanted us gone. I think my dad had issues like during his upbringing that he never dealt with. Because his upbringing was like, it was terrible. Like, he would tell us stories about how they was in strict poverty. They was all living in this trailer with the window busted out. Like, it was bad. And I think maybe his parents used to put him out. I remember when he turned 17 after his graduation, his parents put him on a Greyhound bus with a bag of chicken wings to send him on his way. And so When my dad tells that story nowadays, like if he were to tell that story now, he would tell it as like a victory story. Like he'll tell it like, yep, that's how my parents did me. And that's how I became who I am today. Like he would tell it like it's victorious, but in actuality, that's a traumatic thing. And I felt like he should have held his parents accountable. Not saying he had to disrespect them, but let it be known that, hey, that's not a normal thing, that my parents raised me in poverty all these years. And then when I finally become of age, they put me on a Greyhound bus and sent me on my way. That's not normal. So the fact that he never told himself like, hey, that was tragic. I need to heal. I need to, you know what I'm saying? He wore his tragedies as badges of honor. So that's what he started to repeat in his head. He thought that that was okay. Since that was done to him, he wanted to do it to me and my brother. So it will be days where, I kid you not, I'll be in my room, y'all. My dad will come in my room and he'll say, it's dishes in the sink, get out. Not tell her go do the dishes, but it's dishes in the sink, you gotta get out. Like I swear to God, y'all, if I'm lying, I'm flying. Like I kid you not. And it's like back then that stuff was so normal, bro. But now it's like it's not normal anymore. Like that's actually terrible. That's terrible. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is during my upbringing, y'all, I always felt like I had the shortest end of the stick. At times, I felt like my parents had loved my brother more because they would kick me out and not him. The first and only time my brother really got kicked out to where he was gone overnight. Well, actually, that was the last time we lived at the house with my dad, was when he kicked everybody out. When he kicked my brother out, he kicked me out with my brother. And I didn't even do nothing. But when I would get kicked out, he would kick me out by myself. But the one time he kicked my brother out, y'all, he came to kick me out too. If you want to know about that video, I posted a video about it. It's titled He Kicked Everybody Out. Please go watch that video, y'all. It's video proof of like what my dad was doing. Video proof. He ended up calling the police on me because when he kicked me out, I know I didn't do anything. In my past, in my mind, when he kicked me out, I actually did stuff that made him upset and made him want to kick me out. But in that moment, when he kicked my brother out and then tried to come and kick me out, the fact that I didn't do nothing, I thought that I could try to plead my case. I felt like this was the one moment that I didn't just have to leave, that I could try to talk to my dad. That was not the case. My dad wanted me out, y'all. I don't know what was going on. So fast forward, like I said, yeah, my mama came home. He kicked my mama out too. We was in a hotel. She ended up getting her own place. And then shortly after that, my mama had put me out, right? I was gone for like maybe 6 to 8 months. I don't remember. I ended up coming back because I was about to myself, right? So then when I came back, I think I was there for like, I was living with my mama maybe like 7 to 8 more months with her. And then she had kicked me out again. And that last time she kicked me out, I decided not to come back. Now, the reason why I didn't want to come back was because it was becoming like a repetitive thing with my mom. And my mom used to act like my main advocate, which I should have known was fake and flawed, because my mama never would even buy me no hotel room. Like, for instance, she would tell me, like, she would call me and be like, that's wrong that your dad kicked you out. Like, that's crazy. You got to experience that. But she would never, like, I bought you a hotel room for the night. Like, never. Like, literally, that's all she'll say. She might send me, like, cash out me a couple bucks to get something to eat. And that was it, y'all. That was it, y'all. So, for the longest, I was like, dang, do my family love my brother more than me? Especially when I moved in with my mama and she still would kick me out and would never kick my brother out. And then, y'all, before she even kicked me out, when I was living with all three of them, it seemed like my brother told me that he would go in my mom's room and they would have conversations about me and like the home and stuff, like, and I would just not be included. And that was kind of weird behavior to me, not on my brother's point of view, because I felt like he was being groomed, but on my mother's point of view. This is why this is weird to me, because that same dynamic she used to share with my father. That same dynamic of being in the room, talking about their kids, talking about the home, gossiping, whatever, she would do that with my dad. So the fact that she carried that same dynamic after she split up from my dad, she carried that same dynamic to her own home and replaced my father with my brother, I thought that was weird, because that's her child. So why would you make your child play the position of your husband? I thought that was weird, but I kid y'all not, back then I didn't see it like that. Back then, in my head, I was like, dang, like, my mom just genuinely loved my brother more because he's a boy, and me and my mom, we was just never able to have that connection. We was never able to have that connection because, y'all, my mom went through a lot of stuff with other women. My mom went through a lot of stuff with her mom. My mom went through a lot of stuff probably with her grandma. My mom went through a lot of stuff with friend girls. My mama had a friend that had stole all her stuff out her apartment. Like, I don't know if that's how it actually happened, but I remember my mom used to tell me this story that she was friends with a girl. She let that girl move in with her, and that heifer stole all her stuff. So my mama went through a lot of experiences with women before I was even born. So when I was born and I was a little baby, I was easy to perceive by her because I was harmless. I was a baby. But as soon as I turned, 10, 11, 12, I started growing into my body. I started getting boobs. Like, I started my period. When I started growing more into closer to a woman, that's when me and my mom started getting into it with one another. And for the longest, my brother and my dad, I feel like they used to gaslight me. They would make me feel like it was both of us. Like, they would make it seem like it was both of us. Like, when I say both of us, like both of us being catty, both of us like going back and forth with one another. But a lot of times my mother used to provoke me. And I know she probably, no, I didn't. My mom used to provoke me, y'all. I was a kid. All I wanted to do, like at certain years of being a kid, all you want to do is get your mother's approval. So it's like, me and my mom, we would go at it because it's like my mom would do and say stuff that she know would make me upset. And she would try to get me to respond. So then when I get upset, she could try to reprimand me like, who you talking to? Like, imagine you in a room, you chilling, you by yourself, and you just relaxing. And your mom come in your room like, get up, pick that up. You need to clean your room. What you been doing all day? Like, imagine you relaxing and she come in there on you with that type of energy, and you just like, oh, like, I've been relaxing. You've been relaxing. You just lazy. That's what's wrong with you. That's what's wrong with you. So obviously, if somebody is talking to you like that, degrading you and trying to make it seem like you're something you're not, obviously that's gonna make your mood change. So as soon as I would get upset, like from her, like yelling at me and degrading me, and I would respond, she would reprimand me on my response. And so then when it looks like me and her are going back and forth, my brother or my dad, they'll like see it like, oh, there they go again. But it's like they would never see the part of my mama like provoking me. It's like nobody ever seen that part. It was always like I had to share. It's like I always had to share more or the same amount of the responsibility for our relationship not being the best. But in actuality, my mom is the parent. Like, I was not my mom's parent and she was a parent. We weren't homegirls and we both had our own kids. I was a child, bro. So how are you going to hold a child at the same standard or a higher standard than the parent? Don't mind my piss things, y'all. I was jogging earlier. How you going to hold the child as the same standard as the freaking parent? Or sometimes they will hold me at a higher standard. Because when my mom would get upset at me and get the barking at me and stuff, I would have to be understanding to her feelings. Like, oh, maybe she had a bad day at work, or maybe she going through something. Like, I don't know. I would have to be understanding and handle her from that understanding space. When I would be in my feelings, when I would be depressed, or when I would be snappy or have an attitude, that's all I would be looked at as, oh, you got an attitude. Why you walk around here with attitude? Like, you shouldn't have no attitude. It would never be like, oh, maybe she's going through a lot. Maybe she had a rough day at school. Like, I wasn't allowed to have a bad day. Like, I always had to be like, okay, yeah, like ready to take the punishments for nothing. I kid you not. Like, for the longest, I felt like, dang, like my family was not supporting me. I feel like my family was not there for me. I definitely felt like my family would treat me different. But in all actuality, y'all, that actually created me as the person that I am today. Like, I don't live with my family. Like, I was able to fully like go no contact with them. Like, for the longest, I always felt like I needed my family. Like, I had to suffer from that abuse for the rest of my life. And I'm so blessed that God said, no, like, you don't have to deal with that. because I really felt like my family, it always felt like my family was looking at me like I was a bad person, but I would know the stuff I would do behind closed doors. And based off of the stuff that I would do behind closed doors when no one was looking, like the people that I defended and spoke up on without having to go on social media or even pick up the phone and say, hey, this person talked about you. I did a whole bunch of stuff that people did not even know about. That's how I knew I was a good person. So when I would come around them and they would make me feel like I was just this terrible person and I'm this evil person, it just made me have confliction within myself until I found out who I truly was, y'all. I had to find out who I really was, bruh. Like, I used to think, like, dang, like, my brother got it good. Like, he never had to get kicked out except for that one time, and then he left for all of us. Like, I used to think my brother had it way better than me. But in actuality, if my family never turned their back on me, y'all, I would still be up under them. If my family never turned their back on me, bruh, I probably would still be going through the same stuff I was going through, being on and off the streets, living with my mama them. Then she kicking me out, then homeless for 8 months, then moved back in with her. Then I'm living with her for 3 months. Then she kicked me out again, and I'm homeless for a year. Then I come back. Like, I felt like that would have been my life. That would have been my cycle. But I rebuke all that, y'all. I rebuke all that. Like, I would never live that type of life ever again. I did it when I was young. Now I'm getting older. I'm 25. I'm in my mid-20s. And I would never go back to that lifestyle. But I could say living that lifestyle at a certain point in my younger years definitely prepared me, and it definitely matured me. And it made me a better person. It gave me different perspectives on life. I done been up. I done been down. I done had money, and I done been poor. I done been broke. Like, I done been full, and I done been hungry. Like, I'm telling you, like, I done seen it all. Like, I done seen so much stuff, and it's like, if I would have, basically how I was looking at my brother, like, wow, like, my brother got it so easy. Like, why can't I have an easy life like my brother? Like, maybe he more lovable than me. But nah, like, I wouldn't be able to handle it, because like I said, if my family, especially like my mom, if she would have kept me close, I would have been dependent on her. All that control that I felt like she wanted over me during my upbringing, she would have had that exact control over me during my adult years if she never would have treated me in certain ways, and if she never would have been kicking me out and just being harder on me in general. I never would have had the strength to walk away from that. So now that I'm seeing, like, how the video says, like, oh, you were so stuck on them not showing up for you, them not supporting you, that you didn't even see how amazing it made you. And I have a living testimony of that. But yeah, y'all, this video getting long. I just wanted to give my 2 cents. Thank you for tuning in to my 2 cents. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video.